Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition, to another installment of hashtag Fade to Black. We happy to have somebody back, but he's here. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Don Alamonte Morris, here with Mr. O, Beast Johnson, and Seep Away. How's everybody doing?
We're all right. I'm all right.
I'm intrigued.
Yes.
That's the best way I can say it. I feel like this is the calm before the storm. This is that lull in the horror movie before bodies start dropping.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just waiting for the.
You need some vodka.
Mr. with the wine already.
Oh. I thought you said a form of liquor. I was like, hold on, what kind of liquor is that?
Vodka.
Oh, nah, not vodka. I thought that's what you said.
A Russian drink.
So vodka turned me to a drunk white boy from a frat. I can't drink that no more.
Oh no, I gotta stay away from the tequila. Tequila turned me into a whole different person. So today's show, ladies and gentlemen, if y'all haven't watched last night, we're gonna be giving our views about what happened last night on the debates. Man, oh man, I think I got a whole different interpretation. For anybody who haven't watched or seen the debates, I do have the highlights so to get y'all all up to speed. But before then, y'all always know how we start this show off. We got to get everybody's opening statements. And since he's back on the show, Sip Away, you got first dibs.
So for my opening statement this evening, while everybody's talking about the election, I think we should think about right after the election. My own opinion is that if Trump wins the election, then his supporters are going to feel emboldened. They have the House and Senate. They have the presidency. They're going to have a 63 Supreme Court. They will accomplish repealing laws, creating other laws, and you will have fascism that is legitimated by the election process. If Biden wins the election, then Trump and his supporters are going to see that as a coup. They will see that as an illegitimate government. And at that point, Trump and his supporters and the far right and the white supremacists, they are going to feel that they must defend the legitimate government and they'll fight for it. They'll take up arms and they'll fight a war. So regardless of who wins the election, whether it's Trump or Biden, we're not going back to a state of normal. There's a lot of people, I think, out there that are in denial, and they're thinking that if we can just get Biden to win, then somehow that's going to forestall the very essential problem, which is you have two different groups of white people who are fighting a civil war against each other. And they both believe that they represent the legitimate government, and the election process isn't going to solve that. So when they go to civil war, the African-American community, we're going to get caught in the crossfire again, just like the Civil War in the 1860s. And every time we fight in a war, and I was doing genealogy today, all my ancestors that fought in all the wars, even when we fight in their wars for one side or the other, we're still in this position. So we need to be thinking about, regardless of who wins the election, how do we not become victims in the crossfire? That's my opening statement. And it looks like we're having some technical difficulties as well. So maybe I got extra time for my opening statement. So while I'm waiting for them to cut me off, I had on my Facebook, I had people actually talking about our community, how we will demonize Trump, and yet we're still listening to R. Kelly music. And then I said, it's the other way around. You've got people who are demonizing R. Kelly and supporting Biden as if he isn't also a predator and a pedophile. So there's all kind of contradictions amongst our people. There's a no win. Neither of these political parties, there's no win. There's no way of getting out of this situation with voting. It's just not. You can't force free people. You can't coerce them to vote for somebody they don't want. If you don't want somebody to have power and authority over you, then don't vote for them. That's what freedom is. All this other stuff is coercion. It's just a trick. So that's part 2 of my opening statement while I have the microphone.
I'm sorry about that. Everything went down on my end. That was my fault.
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
Well, I see things from where I am following events. The problem in America is one of the many problems all over the world. I cannot just isolate anyone, and they are all interconnected. The thing is, what do we do with and for ourselves? Do not think that what is going on in the US is isolated from Argentina. We have our own deep problem too. The same, when Argentina voted based on campaign of hatred, we are now suffering it terribly in Argentina. Terrible that Argentina is moving towards socialism. Now we are losing freedom. On Facebook, I prefer to discuss Nigerian and American, European problem than the internal problem in Argentina, so I do not lose friends. There is crisis in Nigeria. There is in China. So I play cool and look up to my God. His will be done. That's all I have to say.
For my opening statement, I'm gonna have to piggyback a little bit off Sequay and ask that question as well. What happens next? Because we're damned either way in this election. Not as a black man, as an American, we're all fucked. Let's just get right down to basic, simple English. One is a pervert openly. The other one is a pervert privately. They're both evil, evil men who only have self-interest and self-preservated ideas about themselves. The only difference is Biden knows how to smile in your face, and he has a pleasant tone of voice. He knows how to carry himself. Trump don't. Trump is that silly, ignorant, ratchet bitch that knows she's silly, ignorant, ratchet, but she just don't give a fuck. She always gonna be silly. She always gonna be ignorant. She always gonna act ratchet, and she expects you to accept her that way because she has no inclination whatsoever of changing. That's who Trump is. Biden is that one that they have their moments. Deep down, they really is ratchet and ignorant, but they know how to carry themselves day to day. So it's only under certain circumstances and situations that you actually see that ratchet come out. I feel as though with this potential war that is about to hit, if you don't support it either way, you can fall back and remain neutral. Hide, go AWOL. Do not put yourself out there to be perceived as a potential ally or enemy in this clusterfuck that's going on right now. I support neither parties. I support neither candidates. Do not come up to me expecting me to be like Trump or Biden. Fuck them both. And fuck you for coming in my face acting that ignorant shit. That's my mentality. And I know I ain't the only one to feel that way. But I go back to my original question. What do we do after this? Because he made two good points, and they're very truthful. If Trump wins, then all his people's going to feel like, we good, baby. We get to do what the fuck we want to. But if Trump loses, they're going to be spoiled, whiny little bitches and try to force their way anyway. I feel as though we need to take a note. If you're not going to remain neutral, then preemptive. But either way, we need to figure out something as Americans. Black, white, Filipino, Creation, Creole, interracial, whatever the fuck it is that you are. If you lay your head on American soil and get up on American soil every day, I'm talking to you. We need to get together because these two jackasses up there don't give no fucks about nobody but themselves. They barely give a fuck about their own flesh and blood. If they don't give a damn about their own children that they help create, why the fuck you think they're going to give a damn about you? Or me, for that matter. So, America, we need to wake the fuck up. We need to figure out what we're going to do. Because once this election is over, the real horror show starts. You going to run and hide? You going to stand there and die? Or you going to put up a fucking fight? Figure it out. Figure it out quick. That's my opening statement.
All right, minus my technical difficulties and all that stuff. My opening statement is a disclaimer for me to you. Things that you're gonna be hearing me say is not pertaining to me as a soldier. This is pertaining to me as Donnell Alamonte Morris, the host, the regular person, the everyday person. As much as I want to concur with much of what everybody's opening statement is, one thing I try not to do is, reply to an opening statement that has been said. But I will say this. What that debate showed was America. I will elaborate more on it when the show comes in. That's America. America is a mess, a complete and utter mess. It's a war zone. To the point where I'm so sick and tired of seeing these nice little commercials of like, get a brand new car and trying to put these little peaceful messages up in there. Like nothing is going wrong. Everything's all wrong. Everything's all bad. If you believe it or not, there is still a deadly disease out there. killing millions of people. You can go ahead and put bleach up in your skin or take this vaccine that's going to be coming out in October. Unfortunately, I'll be the first test dummy. So if y'all don't see me with another head on my shoulders, I guess it's good. Or see me with another finger. I don't know. But we also have to understand and stop living in the fear that government runs every damn thing. Yes, I said it. So, Mr. Rowe, I got the black hat. I guess we both could be wearing the black hat today. We also got to put the blame on ourselves for what's going on too, as well. I am not going to sit here on this show and believe that this is all made up, that this is all planned. For a plan to work, you have to have people to be convinced that it's the real thing. For to believe that somebody had power, you have to convince the pack that you have power. You just can't convince somebody just because you said it. You have to convince them. So like I said, I'm gonna go deep diving on much more of what I'm saying here in this opening statement. But like I said, this is just a disclaimer. This is Donnell Lamonte Morris / the host with all his thoughts and his statements, not his opinions, his statements on this show. And with that, let's go ahead and jump on in to our show and let's talk about this so-called debate. All right, before we jump into it, I'm going to show everybody the highlights. And so I do not get banned, courtesy of Bloomberg.
You can have it in your blood. I've never done that yet.
I know how to do the job. I know how to get the job.
Well, you didn't do very well in swine flu. H1N1, you were a disaster. Your own chief of staff said you were a disaster.
14,000 people died, not 200,000. There was no
very-
economic recession.
Sir, you made a
There was no
lethal
recession.
disease.
you made a point. Let him answer.
And there was no one. We didn't shut down the economy. This is his economy he shut down.
Are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland?
Sure,
Are you
I'm willing
prepared
to
to
do that,
specifically
but
Do it.
Well,
I
go
would
ahead,
say I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right wing.
So what are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see
Well,
peace.
then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it.
You want to call him? What do you want to call him? Give me a name. Give me a
White
name. Go ahead.
supremacists and
Who would
white
you like me to condemn?
White
Proud Boys.
supremacists and right
Proud
militia.
Boys, stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left.
You should go out and vote. You're in voting now. Vote and let your senators know how
Are you gonna
strongly
pack
you
the
feel.
court?
Vote now.
you gonna pack the
Make
court?
sure you, in fact, let people know
He doesn't want
you're
to
a
answer the
senator.
question.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why would
because
you answer that
because
question?
the
You wanna
question
put a lot
is
of
the
new
question
Supreme Court
is
justice,
the
radical
question.
left.
Will you
Who
shut
is your
up, man?
listen?
Is it true that you paid $750 in federal income taxes each of those 2 years?
I paid millions of dollars in taxes, millions of dollars of income tax, and let me just tell you, there was a story in one of the papers.
Show us your tax
I paid
returns.
$38 million 1 year. I paid $27 million.
Show us your tax
1 year.
returns.
I went. You'll see it as soon as it's finished. You'll see it. I'm
go
urging
first.
my supporters to go into the polls and watch very carefully because that's what has to happen. I am urging them to do it. As you know, today there was a big problem. In Philadelphia, they went in to watch. They're called poll watchers, a very safe, very nice thing. They were thrown out. They weren't allowed to watch. You know why? Because bad things happen in Philadelphia, bad things. And I am urging my people. I hope it's going to be a fair election. If it's a fair election, I am 100% on board. But if I see tens of thousands of ballots being manipulated, I can't go along with that.
Show up and vote. You will determine the outcome of this election. Vote, vote, vote. If you're able to vote early in your state, vote early. If you're able to vote in person, vote in person. Vote whatever way is the best way for you, because he cannot stop you from being able to determine the outcome of this election.
President Trump, Vice President Biden, it's been an interesting hour and a half.
And that is the highlights, courtesy of Bloomberg Facebook. So don't even try to think about trying to take down this show. So let me go ahead and take that off. I'm just going to read my panel. I'm gonna take my hostly duties for now and just get how y'all felt about it, because I watched the whole entire thing. And once I hear everybody else's take, I'm gonna give
First thing I'm gonna say, as a man, I have a lot of respect for Biden. I saw in his eyes, I've given that same look myself when you're trying to have a civilized conversation with someone. As an adult, as a mature human, and they insist on bringing negative ignorance that has no end. I know that look. I respect the fuck out of him for keeping his composure as best he could when you got somebody constantly trying to talk over you, and the most he said was, would you just shut up? I respect that. Also, you talk about my family and try to sneak this, I'll stump a fucking hole in your head. I don't give a damn. You can talk what you want to about me. That's fine. I got thick skin. Don't speak on my family. Don't speak on anybody related to me. Don't speak on anybody I claim as family. Don't do that. That's a line you do not cross as a man. In America, in Djibouti, in Kuwait, in whatever fucking country you are, you don't do that. So I have a lot of respect for that man for keeping his civility, because it couldn't have been me. I'd have been walking over there and slapping his ass. Just straight like that. You're not going to speak on my family. I don't give a damn who you think you are.
Floor still open. Mr. O, got anything to add?
I am curious, what's Mr. O got to say about it? Technically, he's the outsider looking in. So how do you feel about it, Mr. O?
You know, I disagree with all of you.
We understand that. We understand that.
No.
How you going to disagree with me?
I told you. I disagree.
Let him roll. Let him roll.
Yeah, let him go. Let him say what he got to say.
In August, I told you from September, America will boil up. When many of you were saying that we burn it down and we're going underground, now the battle is getting ready. All of you get ready. It's not question of, look, you have the right to your opinion. That is what you believe. Then stand by it. The civil war is coming, and it will come. You can't stop it. No Jupiter can stop it. What I want to advise you now is get ready.
I find it funny because he's actually saying something that I was saying months ago. So it's funny how you disagree with me, but you just repeated something that I myself said. I agree with you, sir.
I
said it as well. I said it as well. We are on our way to a civil war.
Okay,
yes.
Look.
You know, we're on the same page, Mr. O.
Yes, I'm watching. Look, just like my book in Latin used to say in those days when we were studying Latin, say, discipuli picturam spectate. See, we keep on, as the people, looking at the spectacle. It has come, it has begun. Although it's a fire that might spread worldwide. Well, this is our time. Maybe it is the beginning of the Armageddon. So, I will not debate your point. I disagree with most of you, of course, but I'm here to listen to you.
Seaway, go ahead.
Hold on, stop before you go, Miss Seaway. Before you go, you do know that it's somewhat hypocritical for you to say, "I do not agree with you, but I will listen to what you have to say." But I disagree with what you say, but I agree to listen to you. I just found that little part funny, Mr. O. I just want to say that. It tickled me a little bit. But go ahead, Seaway.
I don't have to repeat. You know my opinion. And you can't convince me, I can't convince you. What's the problem? I told you some weeks ago, America will burn. I said the fire has started. After all the roasting, we go underground, we create our land. Right? Wait, this is the voice here, and I prepare now to create your land and enjoy it. I was in the Nigerian Civil War. I served in the Red Cross, and I know what the Civil War is. But that was a child's play. Burn America down and see whether you survive.
Seaway, go ahead.
I'm going to bring it back to the debate, since that was the topic. I have a different take on the debate. I didn't watch the debate as a partisan, somebody that has a dog in this fight. I watched the entire debate. Now, first of all, the clip that you showed from Bloomberg is actually propaganda. What Bloomberg did was selected all of the brief moments that will help Bloomberg's narrative. But if you watch the entire debate objectively, right, whether you support Trump or not, Trump dominated that debate. He dominated the debate because, one, he dominated the moderator, and two, he dominated Joe Biden. So regardless of the content of what he was saying, okay, whether it was truth or lies, he dominated the debate. And here's how you know the evidence of it. If you watched all the commentary on CNN, MSNBC News, Fox, the entire commentary after the debate, nobody was talking about Biden. Everybody was talking about Trump, good or bad. Now, what Trump is doing and what most people fail to realize is Trump is not running a traditional election campaign, because he has a strategy that doesn't depend on winning new voters. What Trump is doing is running what is called asymmetrical election warfare. And this is what everybody's kind of missing, particularly the Democrats. And this is why Biden, if you watch the whole thing objectively, Biden came across as weak. You know why? Because he was trying to use decorum, and he was trying to be polite against an opponent. Yeah, against an opponent where that's not the game they're fighting. Biden's bringing a knife to a gunfight. Biden was completely dominated, and when Trump entered, they were struggling. You could visually and viscerally and auditorily hear it. Everybody was attempting to overcome Trump because he had the greatest presence in the room. Now, to Trump's supporters, that's exactly what they want. So what we have to do is get out of our feelings and stop trying to assess things based on our feelings and what we want to happen. The bottom line is Trump, whether you like him or not, we know he's a liar, but he's charismatic, and he dominated the entire thing. Dominated it with lies. Dominated it with, his own thing. You can't fight asymmetrical election warfare with conventional election debate strategy. Their strategy Trump could care less trying to win new voters. They're looking at, they're going to invalidate.
Who's already here.
Yeah, as long as I got a strong enough base, we're going to invalidate the election. If we don't win, we're invalidating it. and they're going to have the power to do it. So if you're looking at the debate from that result, it's like, I don't like what he has to say, and he's on the other team, but at least you can see his base can count on him to whoop ass when he needs to whoop ass. Biden did no ass whipping last night. Biden was playing he was getting beat up. That's my take on it.
Let me jump in. Let me jump in. I didn't get my take. I said I was going to feel out the room. Let everybody get that take. This is my take. See the way I had to disagree with you all the way. Totally. I don't think, first of all, for you to say Trump dominated because he interrupted Biden and interrupted my rate that he took over, that's like me letting you and Mr. O go at it, yelling at each other, back and forth, and getting nowhere. I honestly didn't hear any substance from nobody. But going back to what Beast Johnson said, first of all, you don't bring up family. And number two, you can't have a civil conversation with somebody who's just going to interrupt you at every freaking turn. Now, to counteract with my philosophy, if I hear that you're talking BS and I know it's wrong, yes, I'm going to interrupt you. But I will give you, but hold up. But I will give you your time to say what you need to say if I'm not hearing no bullshit. Biden couldn't even finish a sentence without him coming out and saying anything.
Agreed.
Trump was completely. Go ahead, Beast. Go ahead, Beast.
I was agreeing with you. I was also saying the difference is it's like the card game of bullshit. That's how it's supposed to be done. You could tell me you got 5 aces, and I know good and damn well you lying. But I will call you out. I got 5 aces. You fucking lying. Show me the cards. That's the moment when you are giving your rebuttal.
Right.
So yeah, even during that, he could say, "Oh, that's a lie. That's a lie." Right. You're still supposed to give a pause and give that person a moment to either clean the lie up, defend the lie, or show you the truth.
Right. And so, and to go back on my point, you know what? I'm gonna take back what I said about disagreeing with Seaway, because there are points, not even points. I disagree with you that Trump won that debate, but the other half I do agree with you on. I agree with you on the point that nobody said anything, and that Trump supporters is just going to believe what they want to believe, regardless. I would say, to the extent that I won't say Biden was doing more defending, it was points where he could have just, first of all, when he said something about his son, I would expect him to be like, motherfucker, what the fuck you say? I was expecting that, but he didn't. He kept on saying, my son, my son, my son. I think he said exactly like 3 times, because I watched the whole debate too.
Oh, that's an answer one right there. Three strikes you out.
And I'm not even going to lie to you. Everybody said this was a disaster. This was the best. But I guarantee you, did anybody expect anything less? That's America for you. That's America for you.
And people are making a big deal about his not denouncing white supremacy. And I'm like, what's the big deal? We knew that already.
Why are y'all surprised? That's what I'm looking at. Like, why are y'all surprised?
We knew that already.
It's like kicking the dead horse. But yeah, go ahead, Mr. And I'm gonna jump back in.
Yeah, I just want to, it's difficult for me to agree with Sifiwe, although I do not agree with the substance of what he said. Nevertheless, Sifiwe had made a very intellectual analysis of what has happened, and also his prognostic about blacks being caught in the middle. Do not overrule what he said. As you see, based on that very analysis, Trump won the debate. Even the Latino channel poll says it's 66 to 34. It depends upon how you say it. Sikiwe mentioned it. Take sentiment away from it. If He had an intellectual approach to the matter. Where I agree with Almonte is that this is America. And even Chris Wallace himself too was not a good moderator. So it was that's why all over the world they were surprised that the debate was poor. The debate was poor. So let us look what is going on. I mean, I said prepare for war. There's nothing we can do about it. This is the Maggie.
There's a lot we can do. There's a lot we can do. Whether we're willing to take that initiative, that's the question.
And it will spread like fire all over the planet. Not only America, all over the planet. They plan to reduce the world population from 7 billion to 800 million has now started.
Now, Donnell, I listened to what you said. And if you are going to use a traditional analysis or calculus to judge the debate, meaning who made the better points, who showed the most presidential decorum, if you're going to use a traditional lens for judging that, and the idea is that the person that wins the debates is winning voters, you will come to the conclusion that you came to. But what I'm saying is you've got to consider what is the goal or objective of the other side's framework or tactic, or more specifically, what is the goal or objective of asymmetrical election warfare? What were they trying to achieve?
Yes,
I think I can help. I think I can help you with that, Mr.
There's an actual term for this, and I want to see if anybody is following me.
What I agree with you is that very description, asymmetrical election warfare. That is it.
Yes, I know. And I'm right on a bunch of the other stuff too, because it's the same intellect analyzing. You just haven't caught up yet. But let's get back to the question. Hold on. I don't want to lose the question. Hold on. I don't want to lose the question. Professor, hold on. I don't want to lose the question. What is the Professor O, slow down. Slow down.
We having a debate right here, right now.
No, I'm not debating. There's no debate. I asked a question that we need to answer to get clarity in order to understand the full import of what I'm saying. The Biden camp and those of us out here are trying to use reason and traditional election and debate analysis, all of that. We have one framework for analyzing what happened. What I'm saying is, good strategists and all military strategy says you got to know your enemy. If you don't know your enemy, then you're going to lose. And what I'm saying is the enemy had a different goal for the debate last night, and there's a term for it. It's the object of asymmetrical election warfare. I'm going to answer the question, but I'm asking, does anybody know or understand what they were trying to achieve last night?
I understand I understand what you're talking about and where you're going. I do not know the specific term. And I already had like an analogy in my head to try to help those that are kind of wondering, what's he talking about? So yeah, I'll wait for you to get the answer.
So here's the answer. When you are engaged in asymmetrical warfare, your objective is what they call full spectrum dominance. That's the aim of asymmetrical warfare, full spectrum dominance. So what I'm saying is, from that perspective, let's look at the full spectrum. Did Trump dominate Chris Wallace? Yes. He couldn't moderate. He couldn't even get his questions in.
Well, let's change the wording. Let's change the wording to be honest, because dominate, it gives him a positive spin. When the truth was, you were bullying and intimidating through verbal. Okay.
Well, here,
because I see what you're saying.
The reason why I'm using the term is because that's an actual military term. And if we bring the sentiment and the emotions back in it, it's going to hamper our ability to objectively analyze it.
That is the term used by Latino Channel 2 that he dominated. That's what,
yes.
That's what you, even though Yeah, Bill Johnson doesn't want to accept it. Well, that is his opinion.
Oh no. Check. Hold on, Mr. O. Check yourself. I never said I disagree nor agree with this.
Yeah,
I am merely stating as an American in the new age where any word can and will be used against you to prove a point. A word like dominate, even though he's referring to it in the military sense, to our audience and to those who are not as knowledgeable as Seaboy or yourself, they will hear that term and they will look at it from the literal sense. He dominated. When you speaking it, if someone that doesn't know that he's meaning this military in a military sense, they would hear him and be like, he is right. Seaboy must he must support Trump because he did dominate him. So that's all I'm saying is just people in general don't understand the root of the words they're using. They'll hear a word and
they just take it and use it for another context, which is not even what it is.
That's all I was trying to say. That's all I was trying to say.
I agree with Beast. Like if we were just talking and I wasn't attempting to make a precise point, I'd say, yeah, he bullied. Right. I agree. And I'm glad Beast clarified that for everybody that's listening. I'm intentionally not using the word bully because for what I'm trying to do right now, right, that would get in the way. So the way I was analyzing it last night, I'm like, okay, everybody struggled to get past Donald Trump, to get control, and they couldn't. Trump dominated Chris Wallace. Trump dominated Biden, and Trump dominated the commentary afterward when the debate was over. This is what I'm saying, full spec, and this is what his camp is looking at. His camp is saying between Trump and Biden, Trump has the most dominating presence in the room. If I want somebody to fight for me, I want Trump. I don't want Biden. If we have to go up against dictators in South Korea or anywhere else, right, we can count on having Donald Trump as a fighter. I'm not saying that's my perspective. My job is as a strategist and an analyst to know both camps, what they're trying to do, and then put all of that together. It's like we sitting in the corner, we peeping them, and we saying, okay, what's happening? So that's why I won't say Trump won the thing, but I'll say he dominated the thing. And domination can have a positive or a negative context. It can be bullying or it can be, power. But that's
it's a matter of perception.
Yeah, that's what happened. And that was their goal. All they want to do is project. We can say and do anything we want to. We have the most power in the room. That's what they want to do because that's what their base wants. And when it comes down to it, that's what they're going to need if they were to lose the election, because they're going to, in their mind, they're going to think that they are the legitimate government and America's being taken over. And they're going to have to be ready to what? Stand on their principle. And I agree with Mr. O. I'm glad that he said that this is not disconnected to the world. I mean, we saw what happened with the rise of the right wing and the fascism in America. It happened in Europe. You saw all this stuff happening in Sweden, in Denmark, of all places. Right? It's all over the world. Okay, so I agree with him there. That's a great point. They're not two different conceptual frameworks are battling right now. And it seems like our side is so stuck in only recognizing one conceptual framework in play. And I'm cautioning them and saying, that's going to be your Achilles heel. That's going to be your downfall.
But see, you also got to understand for regular folks, like how Beast had to break it down so people can understand, you have to understand that factor too. Because right now, his supporters are now the face of America. And
for those that don't know what they're doing, like for those that don't understand Seafway, when he's saying asymmetrical political warfare, let me go back to the A's when the question of running for president was first brought to Donald Trump. And he gave a nice little interview There's video as well as print of his statements, and it paraphrased basically said, I would go Republican. My base would be middle American whites, red states. That's what I'm going for. I'm sticking to that, and I'm staying there. What he's doing now is the same thing that he said then. It's almost equated to wrestling in the sense, because he is like the WWE. He's Vince McMahon. He been doing it this way. He been saying he gonna do it this way, and he's not gonna change. He's not gonna listen to anybody. He knows all I need is my OG fans from the 70s and the 80s that still believe that mess, that still proudly promote that. I need them. Now, as far as new people, I need those who are associated with them. I don't need new free thinkers. I need wrestling fans that grew up with the old wrestling fans that I'm looking for. I need those Hulk Hogan fans, those Macho Man fans, those Andre the Giant fans, those Kevin Nash fans, though anybody that's still alive. Oh, they might be 67 years old, but Vince knows if I get you on that ring and I get you out there in your costume, people will pay top dollar just to see you in that ring for 5 minutes. Doesn't matter if you can perform or not. Those are the people I want. As long as I can get your ass out here and let the people know that you're here, this is what's going on, they'll keep supporting me. They'll keep supporting me. No matter how bad the product is, no matter how dangerous it is, no matter how lackluster it is, as long as I can give them the greatest hits, the oldies but goodies, they're not going nowhere.
Right.
And that's what he's doing now.
Yeah. Let me go and jump back in. So before I continue on my point, I do want to tell this to Mr. O. Mr. O, Trump is still losing the polls, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It actually hindered him.
Just
He's
like
43.
Just like 2016.
No, it's not like 2016. It's not like 2016.
He was losing the poll.
No.
Before.
He wasn't losing. He was not. He was.
Actually, he won. He won the popular vote.
He lost
the popular vote that first go round.
Popular vote because of California, because of legal vote.
Oh, here we go. The debate again. Trump and Clinton was actually neck and neck. It wasn't. But you was probably looking at all those blue states and sitting there and saying, first thing that came out your no, hold up.
Hold on, Mr. O, you have to give him the respect we give you.
Yeah.
You have to do that.
I'm not Chris Wallace.
Respect the fact that we respect the fact that you tell us that you don't respect our opinions. We respect the fact that you immediately disagree with us before we open our mouths. All we ask is that you give us the respect we give you. We know you don't. We know you dislike it, but what you're doing right now is what Trump did last night, and that's why we're having this discussion. We can't have that anymore.
And I'm the host, and I'm gonna let y'all know I'm not Chris Wallace. So let's continue. So, like I was saying, they was neck and neck because I remember I was in Kentucky and everybody had on the Trump shirt, Trump hat, had the Trump things out there. Only saw one thing of Hillary. So you cannot tell me that the polls had Hillary Clinton leading. And the first state that came out your mouth was California. Obviously, yeah, California bleeds blue. So let me go ahead and get that out the way. Now, let's go back to the point that I was stating. I understand, Sleepaway, yes, there's a strategy. But let's talk military, because you brought up some little military points. So his base say they want that, yeah, tell it like it is and all that stuff. But let me ask you a question. Well, I'm going to ask everybody a question. Do you want a general that leads in the war that just tells the enemy, we're going to come in, we're going to pillage everything until we get what we want? Or do you want the one that actually sit down with his troops and actually tell them in a calm demeanor, like, we're going to go up in there and we're going to whip ass and actually go in and do it?
When dealing with war or any form of aggression, a lack of emotion gives you the best clarity.
Because I
want my general to come to me calm and tell us, This is the plan we have. We're gonna go out there and fuck them up.
Right. So
Word.
so when you talk about generals, definitely in the military, the first name that comes up is General Patton. General Patton was that I know of. He was the only vocal 4-star general who would literally go in the fight with his troops. Because I know y'all probably heard the term.
What about MacArthur?
MacArthur, he was more of a calm, cool demeanor. And then we go with Eisenhower. Remember Vote Ike?
Oh, yeah.
Mr. I remember him. He was a 4-star general who actually worked with a 3-star General Patton during that time. But Patton was the vocal one. He was the one that says, you know what? I'm not going to be in the rear with the gear. I'm going to go out there with the troops. And I respect him for that. But see, that's the issue too, because people thinks that, oh, Trump is General Patton. He's the one that's right there with the troops.
Hell no.
Do this, do that. So I understand what you're looking through it in a very, I won't say apolitical, but you've seen it from a philosophical side. But you also got to understand that you got people like Trump supporters, people like Biden supporters. I'm not going to say, because I think we use emotion way too freaking much, because I don't think it's emotion. Or that's the final result of it. It's not emotion, because when somebody says something that ticks you off, like if I came at your plan and said that your plan was horrible, which is not, I'm just using an example, says your plan was horrible and you're going to push black people back another 600 years, you're not going to sit here and tell me with a straight face that that's not going to make you be like, you know what, motherfucker, say that shit to my face right here, right now. So for people who saying that, well, you need to take emotion out of it, it's always going to be emotion in it. But you got people that's going to bleed blue no matter what. And you got people on the right side that's going to bleed red no matter what. So when I actually watched that whole entire debate, I was like, you know what? I don't got no dog in this fight. I just want to see how it's going to be. I know I'm going to be entertained. I just want to see what they got to say. We barely got anything of what they said. So once again, I don't think Trump won shit. Trump was Trump. That was the strategy. Trump went in as Trump. I guarantee you, they had no strategy. I take that back. They had a little bit of strategy. I guarantee you, whoever was prepping him up was telling them, hey, when he say this, come back with that. When anytime he say this, come back with that. And to me, he was doing it by the letter. Now, to your point on Biden just, sticking to the rule book, be respectful, be quorum and all that stuff, I agree with you on that point. How I would prep either one of these, definitely like a Biden. I wish it was Bernie Sanders, but how I would prep them?
Thank you.
I would say get in the mud with them. Slay the mud at them.
Honestly, I'd have told Biden, you need to go home and you need to pull up every last one of them memes they got of you and Obama. And you need to be that meme.
Yeah. There was no difference.
Like he should have been first off. What you not about to do is put that's what Biden should have did. Like that's just me being funny or whatever, but there's 2 points of it. Trying to be reserved makes him come off as weak. So he should have had as a point of like, hey, I respectfully will whoop your ass. So watch your mouth.
All right. So, okay. Almonte, I agree with you. Me personally, I would want my leader to be calm, wise, authentic, confident, and well prepared. That's my preferred brand of leadership. Trump is not but I'm not looking at it like that. And you did the thing that I was just talking about was you just inserted yourself into the thing. You said, well, if I were prepping, and as soon as you insert yourself into, okay, I'm going to use my framework of things. And now you're not looking at it from a position, an orientation that is going to allow you to see the whole battlefield. Okay. Now, you just made the point too, which is you said Trump was actually following a playbook that other people helped him prepare. And I would agree with you too. I think he was well prepped and he knew exactly what kinds of things he wanted to say when anything was brought up. And so from my vantage point, I saw a great coordination between his planners and Trump just going off the cuff and being himself. Because he would initially rely on the canned response that he was supposed to give, and then he would just do what he normally does and go way off whatever, but it worked. The thing with Biden, and I'd like to hear Beast's opinion on this, to me it's like an MMA fight. You got one guy, take like George St. Pierre, you got one guy, long arm straight, you can't even get to him. You can't even hit him, okay? And then you got some challenger that comes in and has to completely change the nature of his game or his fight. He has to become something different, something that he's not normal. That he doesn't normally fight this way. And that's why I'm saying it's a lose-lose for Biden, because you can't make Biden into a pit bull that can actually give Trump a decent fight.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I agree with you.
With that explanation, and pretty much it's like you're trying to fight his fight.
Yeah, you're trying to fight his fight, and Biden.
It's not going to work. It never works.
And Biden doesn't have a fight of his own fight that can defeat Trump because it's asymmetrical. This is what I got to keep getting home to people.
Well, I agree. What he's doing is bold. Is right there in your face. Like he told you straight up and down I compare Trump to Ronda Rousey. Simple yet effective one-trick pony. She tell you straight to your face, I'm gonna walk in this ring, I'm gonna get close enough to grab you, I'm gonna throw you to the ground, I'm gonna put this arm bar on your ass, and you either gonna tap or you gonna have a broke arm. And she do it every single time. Like and there's nothing else you can do about it.
I like Keith's comment. You can't out Trump.
Oh, you can. Actually, you can. I won't say you can out Trump him, but there has to be a certain level of
Biden can
of honesty.
Yeah, Biden. Yeah,
what Biden has to bring in honesty, because you're obviously fighting an individual who lies methodically and habitually. So you have to be honest, but you have to be honest in a way that is more honest than you would normally be. You know, like when Trump tried to call him out on the swine flu, and he was very respectful. He's like, it was only 14,000 people, unlike the 200,000 that's under yours. It was like, okay, that was smooth, but that's a moment that he's going to lie and try to call you out. Then you need to not get to his level, but you need to use some of his similar tactics. You just said you need to get loud, make sure that your voice is assertive and authoritative, make sure that everybody in there can hear what you say, and let that be known that regardless of whatever you have to say, sir, I'm going to get my point across. Now I can get it across now, or I could walk directly in front of you and make sure I say it to your face so you understand that I'm going to get my point across, and nothing you say will intimidate me or bully me to stop talking. And so you can either allow me, or you can either allow this progression to be civil and let everybody get their points across, or I'm going to move these little podiums a lot closer. So that way, if you lie on me again, or you come out your mouth sideways, I don't have to waste a whole bunch of energy to track you down. I'm just going to backhand the fuck out of you.
If Biden's campaign was smart, they wouldn't have even had the debate. Like they would say, we're not even. Look, Trump can go on. He said, we're not participating in it. We're not going to give him a platform. If Trump wants to go on air and say things that are going to galvanize his base and offend everybody else, then let him go. Right? I would have played the asymmetrical game. I would have asymmetrically said, have the debate and then don't show up, and then be like, and then be like, we don't even bother debating him. Right. The other thing, the missing element or that we haven't talked about, is that there's an element of religion in this. There, for a lot of Trump supporters, the evangelical, this is a religious and spiritual campaign, and they're looking for a fighter. They're looking for a David. They're looking for a Messiah. And when you have this sort of aura of sacredness, which some of his camp has for Trump, right? You can say and do anything because there's the built-in, Christian perversity, which says that with God, God chooses whomsoever, and he'll raise up the base and the humble to confound the wise and the prudent. So there's this built-up thing that no matter how bad, Trump is, how evil he is, how sick he is, they're just going to see that as, well, that's just showing you that God can use anybody that they want. And they said that he would go, take the base things of the earth and rise them up to confound the wise and the prudent. So there's this whole element of they don't have to appeal to modern sensibility, modern reason. That's all part of the asymmetrical. They're free from that. We're just
to go back to what you were saying earlier with Donnell. You could almost say that when it comes to religion, he took a couple notes out of the playbook of the Bushes, because George Bush Jr. definitely used the whole God and America for his presidency. And a lot of stuff that he said was washed on the table because why? God chose him. So if he says something devilish, that's just God working through him.
Okay, so there's again, I'm responding to Keith. He's a false prophet being followed by a cult when you're looking at it from the other side. Okay? But you gotta acknowledge that there's another side that is every bit as real, and their reality, in the same way that I agree with like what Keith said, and I'd say that that's our reality and our experience of him. You gotta factor in that there's an equal real side that's being experienced by the opposition, and that's what you're up against. So what's your strategy for incorporating that reality? Because trying to appeal, it's kind of like us as black people are like, we're going to appeal to the moral conscience of white people. Now that we know them, right? Now that we know them, we got to come up with another strategy. So it's like, now that you know that this is what Trump is doing, this is what the campaign, once you've peeped the essence of it, you got to put the hammer back in the toolbox, because this is not a job for a hammer. This is a job for one of those tools that you rarely ever use because it's a screwy thing, right? This tool is only useful in the most extraordinary circumstances. Yeah.
What they call niche. It's a very niche tool.
The Democrats haven't pulled that out yet. There's no evidence that the Democrats are doing anything new or different against Trump.
No. Mr. O, you got anything to add? Because I still didn't get done with my point anyway. But go ahead, Mr. O.
No,
I had a question for Mr. O. I actually had a question for you. Well, I want to hear what you got to say.
Don't let Tina. No, I wanted to add that if you know that he is losing in the polls, then be happy.
No, I
be happy. Be happy.
I can't be happy, Mr. O. I can't
be happy. That's what I want to tell you. I will not argue it with you. For you, is winning, is losing in the polls. Then, hallelujah, your dreams are coming true.
I didn't say it was my dream. You want to hold Mr. O? Hey, Mr. O, come here, Come on.
No, I get Mr. O, right? If we truly believe that the election process is authentic and the poll and all of that, then we wouldn't even be sitting here talking. We're like, okay, Biden's going to win. He's way ahead in the polls. Mr. O makes a great point, and I believe it or not, I agree with him again. Right? Everybody laughed in 2006. There's no way Trump is going to win. Okay? And yet
we all look like idiots.
But this time around, the votes don't matter. This is what I'm saying. The vote, what votes actually get counted. Even if Trump loses by 1 vote or 11 million votes, it's not going to matter, because what's going to play out is no matter what happens, either he wins or it's a fraudulent election, and they are preparing their religious soldiers to have the courage, the fortitude.
Okay.
And Biden's camp is not, if when that happens, Biden's camp is not going to be able to match their fortitude and fight them in a war. And they're going to lose.
Honestly, but I'm sorry, Superway, but you're looking, like you said, you got to go on the other side to understand what is going on. For you to make that argument to just look on that one side, you're not even looking on the other side of people who are supporting Biden that has a lot of power, that got a lot of pull. So we just can't only just look at the radical right on how they're going to react. You also got to look at, for the Biden side, that's going to be like, hey, we won. You know, they can have the same energy just like what Trump supporters is.
Do you think they do?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yes, they do. But once again, you just can't say you got to look on both the sides, but you're only talking about one side.
No, I agree with you. I don't. My own personal opinion is, I don't think Biden supporters are ready for a fight. That's my personal opinion. All right. I hope you're right.
The supporters, I can see where he's coming from in the respect of supporters. Just your fans. You got to look at it like that. Like,
yeah,
right.
You got fan bases that are more diligent and more convicted than others.
Yes.
So I'm in the anime and Japanese cartoons. So like fan bases, Dragon Ball Z, that's a fan base that's very likened to Trump, because ain't a motherfucker in anime, ain't a motherfucker in all of cartoondom that could beat Goku. If you ask somebody from Dragon Ball Z, if you ask a fan of Dragon Ball Z, they will look you in your face and say, God will fuck around and catch these hands. What? You say Goku? Yes. If God came down to earth right now, Goku would be right there like, nigga, throw up. That's their conviction. They really, really believe that. And on the other end, you got other folk that's like one punch and be like, well, one punch, all he needs is one punch, man. It's his name. All he gonna do is punch you one time and you dead. Goku got to charge up for 57 episodes and then talk to you for another 22 and then fight you for 2 minutes. That's the energy that you have on two opposite spectrums.
Right, because
you see it more from Dragon Ball Z. But until the conversation really gets into it, you won't hear it from those one punch. So I understand what he's talking about. We haven't heard the Biden passion yet.
But see, and that's the issue. That is the issue. The mainstream don't even cover that side at all.
They don't.
Trust me. Those Trump supporters, they are already out in full force already. You talk about the Proud Boys, you talk about the Boogaloo Boys, and whatever cults and new groups that's coming out the woodworks. They are, like I said, I agree with you on that point. Mm-hmm. They are out there in full force. If he even said that if I lose, I'm not going to leave out this White House peacefully. And trust me, I guarantee you, the 1%ers and all of them probably going to be right there in lockstep at the White House, just making I want y'all to come here. I want you to come through here. But on the Biden side, don't take them as being weak neither, because they're more in the quiet, super PAC businesses and money and all that stuff on that side. That's why.
In other words, like how you saying it, Trump supporters would just outright publicly, riot and show their frustration, whereas in Biden supporters, they'll use their power and their pull and start affecting the economy and the whole governmental structure.
Look, if you got,
I agree, Keith. I agree. DBZ is fighting.
You have, after freaking Trump won the first time, look at how many women came out there, which, by the way, half of them vote for Trump. They sit there and try and be like about women's rights, but you voted for him.
That's dumb.
He appeals to them if they don't fuck it up this time. That's his base.
Or
Peace.
or if he gets caught grabbing them by the pussy, I mean, one or two.
Okay, but again, it doesn't matter how many people show up at the polls and what the election returns are. The point I'm making about the left is this. Yes, there are militant people on the left and there's powerful people on the left. And the ones that are more ready to like get down and scrap with the rights and what's going to come next, those people aren't Biden supporters. Okay? The people the people on the left that are ready to throw down, they're not passionate. They're not going to fight for Biden to put him in the office. Okay? They're just against Trump, but they're not for Biden. What I'm saying is the Biden supporters, the people who are really for Biden, if there even are, those people aren't going to fight. Now, what I'm saying is if it would be different. Like people were passionate about Obama. If the Democrats had a candidate like Obama that people were crying over and Trump won, and people felt like Trump won because of obstruction, preventing people from voting and going to the polls, shenanigans with mail-in, right? If there was a candidate people loved like Obama and he lost, then they'd be willing to go and fight. That's what I'm saying. There's no energy. No, in fact, in the beginning of the campaign season, if you go back and look at it, Biden was told he was in 6th place. And what happened was the people, and this is in Mr. O's, this is what Mr. O talks about. The people were expressing their will, their opinion. Their opinion was there were 5 other candidates that they wanted ahead of Biden. Biden only got 8% in New Hampshire or one of those first polls. He finished 6th. And he only got 8%. And so what happened was those primaries are not for the people. Those primaries are for the oligarchs and the 1% to figure out how they're going to play this game. And when they decided they wanted Biden, that's when you had the media demonize Bernie. We got to get him out. Okay. That's when you had the media go through all of these things where, okay, we don't want Amy Klobuchar, right? We don't want Kamala Harris, right? They eliminated all of the people ahead of Biden because they saw that's what we've got to do because the people themselves will not vote for Biden. So this is not an election where the people chose the candidates. Donald Trump, right, lost the popular vote, but he got into the election. So the people didn't choose Donald Trump to be the president and be in the election, and the people didn't choose Biden. But they have convinced us that this process, which isn't democratic, because a democratic process says each person gets 1 vote and that's it. You don't need an electoral college. You don't need a second round. You don't need any of those things like they do in other countries. So they manipulated the whole process to put Biden up there because nobody wanted him to be president. And now what you're seeing is you're trying to get people excited and vote for someone they don't want. And that can't work. People on Trump's side really want him to stay president. So it's totally asymmetrical. How are you gonna look? In less than 40 days, you're gonna see it. It's real simple, and it's real simple. Like what we're being faced with is real crystal clear. Either you're a reformist, and like Professor O says, you get in there and you change the laws. Okay. Now, my own personal opinion is we got in there after emancipation and we've been trying to change the laws since, and look at where we're at now. So as far as I'm concerned, that strategy's been tried and it's dead. Okay. But if that's what you believe in, then you have to stay in America and you have to fight to change the laws. Now, if you don't see much prospect in that, then you have to, here are the rest of your choices. Okay. You either stay in America in an oppressive, fascist, racist society and tolerate it, right? Train yourself to tolerate it, or you leave, or You fight an armed struggle for independence and liberation, which pretty much at this point is a suicide mission. That's the choices that we're facing, right? You either stay and change the laws, and I don't see the laws changing. We're not going to change enough of the laws, right, to bring about some kind of structural change.
But that goes to organization. And then going back to what Teach said when she was on the show, that all ideas, like on this show, needs to be respected, and we shouldn't just do just one idea that everybody have to agree with.
I didn't say that. I said these are
no, I'm not saying what you're saying, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, these are
like,
the choices. And that's you have to. First of all, you got to have clarity. And somebody that was B said it. You take the emotion out of it. Maybe it was Professor. You got to take the emotion out of it to see clearly what are the choices. Now, I'm saying I laid it out there objectively. And then I say my own personal thing is, why should we get caught in a crossfire between two groups of white people fighting each other for power?
But also, I don't think having somebody's different ideas to the table is emotion. Once again, like I said earlier, we just keep don't use emotion. If somebody bring their ideas and what they bring to what they have to the table, I don't see that as emotional. And that's not
what I
was saying. I didn't mean to imply that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Beast. I didn't mean to imply that.
There is proper emotion that must be put into it. Now, when most people think of emotion, you're thinking of the inferior, non-rational, non-logical emotions like anger, insecurities, depressions, anxieties, like those type of emotions aren't functional. But when you hear someone speak with a lot of energy and passion, you equate that emotion with the rest of the spectrum. And that's when you hear like, well, we need to take emotions out. Like, I agree with you. Certain emotions should be there, but it's only the ones that leave you in a rational, logical sense. Anger is the quintessential emotion that must be taken out. When we speak of taking emotions out, we're really speaking about anger and ignorance and just all around insecurities. Those type of emotions serve no purpose. They serve no benefit. But you do have to have some kind of emotional passion and emotional conviction to stand by whatever it is that you're saying or believing. So like on Seepway's side, that's the emotion that needs to be preserved and maintained. But on your end, Donnell, it's the typical status quo emotions that everyone kind of knows. Everyone know anger don't solve nothing. As I know you're angry at this, I know you're annoyed at this, but to act in that manner under that emotion is not going to give you any benefit. So you're both right. It's just it goes back again. It goes back again. Yeah. We have to start not necessarily explaining ourselves, but making sure people understand the vernacular that we're using.
Right. And even with Seepway saying all the things that he's saying, I'm in agreement with him too. Even though I'm saying my side too, and probably is probably mutual. What he's saying, yes, is the needle on the head. So I want to put that out there to him. Me and him, this is not no debate going back and forth. I'm not saying anything over him. Mr. O is not Chris Wallace and just sit there, just letting us go because Mr. O will be like, hey, stop.
I do have a question. I didn't get a chance to ask you earlier, Mr. O, but you have been quiet and you brought up a good point about this being a war, about us being in division. So I asked the question to you. What do you feel as though, or what is your educated opinion on some actions or course of actions that we could take after the election? No, regardless of who wins, we're not even talking about if this person wins or if this person wins. Just after the election itself, no matter who the victor is, no matter who the loser is, how do you feel as though, or what do you think we could do to move forward as a nation?
Look, you see, remember I told you that Africans have some sanctuaries where some entities are where we do the rituals. In my tribe, they say that when an entity wants blood, but you offer red ink, it will not accept. That is what I see today in America and the world. I cannot prognosticate what we must do. When the time comes, maybe we shall listen to each other. I cannot tell you. I do not
That's a suggestion right there.
Yes, I cannot vaticinate. Look, a lot of things will happen this October. There's going to be a lot of explosion. Look, we are just beginning to feel the heat now. Look, Sifuwe's conclusions are understandable by me, are even acceptable. I told you, although I may not agree with some substance, yet his conclusions are very intellectual. And we have to listen to him. He seems to be informed. So I cannot vaticinate.
And see, good point, Mr. O. I think for everybody on a different spectrum, if you supported Biden or you supported Trump or you just didn't vote at all, we should all come together, not kumbaya, and just listen and come up with suggestions, come up with solutions, and let's work on it. Yes, you may not like the person. I'm not going to use the presidential election. Let's just go ahead and push that to the side for a minute. Even with the local, your sheriff, your mayor, your superintendent, whoever, that you all can come together like, look, I don't like this guy, or I like this person, but let's work on something. Let's hold them in check on what they say they're going to do. They're going to do ... And if they're not doing A or B, we should go to the town hall or wherever meeting and be like, hey, I voted for you. I expect you to keep my kids from, like free lunches. I'm expecting you to keep that promise, right? And call them to the floor to it. So yeah, Mr. I agree with that.
I agree with you. I agree with what you've just said. That is what I've been saying. That's why I was talking about grassroots, the mayor, the sheriffs, so that when the thing explodes, we know who to follow. Mm-hmm. But it has to be somebody. It has to be a local general, not a distant general. The one we know where he goes to shit, where he goes to peace, where he goes to eat. That is the one we follow.
Right. And
Mr. Yes.
You say grassroots. I agree with you. I agree with you in grassroots, but guess what? Get ready to pull on the black hat. It's gonna happen. Pull on the black hat. But yeah, you're right, Mr. O. I'm happy that Beast Jones asked you that question. There's some.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
Mr. O was saying, for example, my uncle was the chief of police for Gary, Indiana. Okay. And Gary, Indiana. Gary, Indiana.
Michael Jackson.
Yes, Michael Jackson, right? Just from Chicago, right? Now, in a crisis situation, even in a crisis situation, the police chief primary responsibility is not revolution or defending the community. It's law and order and defending the property of the capitalists. That's his job. So in a crisis situation, when things pop out, Mr. O, we're not following that person. I wouldn't even follow my uncle. He'd be fighting me. He'd be saying I'm the troublemaker. Okay.
Let's go back to my statement earlier. Are you willing to fight your mama or fight your brother? That's what we coming to.
Now, if we look at the first example, which is what we're talking about, which is changing the law, then it's not enough for us to just come together and listen and come up with something. We actually have to decide something and commit to something, which is what we don't do. So it's not let's all come together and talk about something and come up with a plan, because you can have a plan, but you don't commit to it. And then if you commit to it, you got to implement it. Okay. So if we're talking about changing the law, we could have a basic conversation about what it takes to change the law. Let's use an example that we all know because of Black History Month, which is look at what it took, the civil rights movement, to change some basic laws. If it's going to take 10 years and 20 years and boycotting and busing and getting heads cracked and dogs sicked on us, are you trying to tell the next generation that we should engage in those tactics and make that attempt when it's not just one or two or three laws, it's a whole slew of laws at every level, federal, state, municipal. What we have learned is the energy, the effort, the commitment, all that is required to change the laws, okay? We have to be honest about that. You have to present that to the people and say, here's what it's going to take to change all these laws. Are you willing to commit to it? Now, if the answer is yes, then there you go. It's like an Olympic athlete. You don't just say, okay, I want to make the Olympics, but you don't know, okay, it's a 10-year training plan. And here's what you're going to have to do every single day. You don't just say, I commit to change the Olympics, and you don't have your season plan, your quadrennial plan, your yearly plan. So that first option, okay, got to change the law. If you're going to commit to that, understand you're going to be living for the next 20 or 30, the rest of your lifetime, right, in pretty much the situation you're in now, in the hopes of that far down the road getting a Brown versus Board of Education type decision, which is just, applied in one sphere of social life. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. This is my challenge to Professor O. This is why I'm not a reformist. I'm saying, okay, I can't commit to that. I can't, the prospects of living life and getting the things that I want by following that path, although anything's possible, what we've learned from history is it's going to require all of this. And we're not even, it takes collective action, even at the local level. Now watch this. Take my example for a moment. I live in Springfield, Missouri. It's 97% white. There's 3% other. So it's like 1.9% Black people. Let's say I show up at the school board meetings like I've been doing, and I say, look, these are the curriculum changes that I want to see happen. And of course, you all know me. So the things that I want them to teach in the curriculum and the history are not what they want. So when because they outnumber me and they have more people that are powerful on the board, when they outnumber me and I lose and I don't get what I want repeatedly over and over again, don't you think you're going to tell me, Sip, that's the consequence of living in Springfield? You live in a place where you're outnumbered. You live amongst the people who are fundamentally different than you and have a fundamental different heritage. So you're going to tell me the sensible thing to do, Sippy Way, is move out of Springfield. Stop trying to impose your curriculum and what you want when clearly the city doesn't want that. You telling me to leave would make sense. So now let's extrapolate that. We, the Black people, are the Sippy Way living in the America, which is Springfield. We are completely outnumbered. And our efforts to change the school board or change the laws, right? And so many, this is why people are tired. This is why people are disillusioned. So, that's the other option. You leave. Because if you don't leave, and you're not working to change the law, what are you doing? You're just tolerating oppression in America. And then if you strap up, like B says, okay, I'm willing to fight, that's pretty much a suicide mission at this point. So the intelligent thing to do is we have amongst my Belanta people, we have a proverb. It says, you don't look for teeth on the day of the feast. You don't look for teeth on the day of the feast. Meaning, before the thing happens, you should have already what? Done all the prep work that you need to do for what you feel is best for you. And too many of us are in denial. The Black community, what they're hoping is this. The Black community is in this state right now. They are hoping that if we all turn out to vote and we vote for Biden, he will get put into office without too much of a conflict. And if he does that, we won't have to make the very scary choices I'm talking about, that things will kind of resolve themselves so that we don't have to make those choices. And I'm saying that's incredibly naive.
All right, Superboy, I'm gonna let Mr. O combat that. Mr. O, you got anything to say? Anything to counter?
No, what you see, just as Superboy mentioned, that it does not coincide with my approach. And as you said, this is a pluralistic forum. So let us have in mind what each of us are proposing. And when the time comes, we see what suits the situation. So there's no need of silencing one in favor of the other. There is a battle on the road, and we have to be worried about how we go through in that very battle. Really, I want to tell African Americans, if a racial war breaks out, that's why Stephen West said blacks will be caught between the two. Do not expect Latinos, Arabs, Chinese, Russians to fight for black people. Maybe a handful of Caucasian may do it, but Latinos, Chinese, Arabs, Russians, Indians, fighting against white man to defend black man, it will be a miracle of the millennium. So let us use our brains.
I agree, Professor O. The only thing I would add is, for people who really truly see America as their enemy, they might get in and fight against America, but not because they're fighting on behalf of the black man, but because they see this as the opportunity to weaken America and take advantage of them.
Correct. The enemies of America will seize the opportunity.
Before anybody continue, be sure to you witnessing this, right? I'm not the only one just seeing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was just seeing it.
And just for further clarification, I'm completely sober. I ain't smoked all day. I see what you see.
Okay, cool. Because I ain't had not one thing to drink. Okay, and my eye is getting better, so both my eyes are wide open.
Yeah, we good
right now. Okay, cool. I'm sure. Gotcha. But continue, gentlemen. Continue.
Please do, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not been tuned in to the show as of late, or this is your first time, let's just say this is the most
civil these two have ever been.
Right.
We're talking about something serious. This is the most civil they've ever been.
In agreement.
Oh man.
It's gonna
I love this show.
I'm telling you.
God, I love it. You know what?
It's gonna start rated money. It's gonna start rated money.
I'm putting it out there. You know what? We need to be the first political cabinet. I'm not talking about one of us run for president. The whole Almonte show fade to black needs to run for presidency. We all share. We all divvy up.
Mm-hmm.
I will be the vice president because I'm crazy enough, and I know good well nobody want me to have the button. So whoever in front of me, you good. You ain't got to worry about no assassinations, because the last person they want to run the country.
Look, I'll be the Frank Underwood. I'll be the majority whip. I get everybody to support whatever we got on the table. Okay, if any of y'all ever watch that show on Netflix called House of Cards, I'm Frank Underwood. Okay, but I'm not going to.
Mr. O, we need you to be Cheney. I need you to be Dick Cheney. I need you to be Dick Cheney. I need you to be that old school, like. You need to be the old school villain. I need you to be like heel, just but don't nobody know.
No. I am
Mr. O run shit.
I will know. Well, we don't want war, but it is inevitable. You see, too much hatred, too much differences, too much. A war is one of the things that can. What do you call it? Rectify the population or purify the population. I hope those who survive are pure. That is the problem.
Hey, all that I gotta say. Also, Teach brought this up. Hopefully, she's watching somewhere. A rumor of war.
Yes,
she kept preaching it. Majority of
it is evident. It is evident.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is that
for those that can't see it. It's a rumor, but for those that see it, it's evident.
They are fueling it, and you see, then there are those evil people that will seize upon it, and that is where I fear for the black race.
Okay, so since we invoked Teach's wars and rumors of wars, which comes from Scripture, and since we're talking about Trump's base, which is Christian and all of that, let's not forget, if we're going to put ourselves in that milieu, if we're going to put ourselves in that book, if that's going to be our guide, it literally said in Revelations 18, when you see the World Trade Towers get bombed, that's when you're supposed to come out of her, my people. So that you what? Partake not of her sins and her judgments which are to come, her plagues and her death. That's what the scripture says. Revelations 18, go read it. It says when the merchants of the earth get their judgment in 1 hour. Well, what do you think the World Trade Center is if it isn't the center of world trade? The merchants. They got their judgment in 1 hour. Those buildings fell in 1 hour. It said when you see the smoke of her burning, what part of the world didn't see the smoke of her burning? It says, when you see these things, come out of her, my people, so that you partake not of her plagues that are to come. Now let's look at it. California, wildfires is every day now in the news.
Trust me, over here in Washington. Trust me.
Okay.
Actually, you can take it a step further, see, boy.
North Carolina.
Go ahead.
North Carolina, South Carolina, the Gulf Coast, constant hurricanes. They increase every year. Okay. Florida as well. Right. Right now with this pandemic, right, we're seeing that although is a worldwide judgment because it's what? The world merchants. Who's getting the most of it? United States is like, if you look at the graph, all the other countries are flatline now, and the United States just goes up and up and up and up and up.
No, Europe is already going up again.
Okay, well, there you go. Europe, but not Africa, but Europe, right? Which is
look, I say don't mention Africa because I don't want to open my mouth. Because if I say it and they hear it, they will bombard Africa. I'm just quiet.
He's like, don't bring us into this.
So, right, I have a scriptural basis for saying, okay, let's respect everybody. Let's analyze all the other options. We'll look at stay in America and change the law. But God damn, if I can be like Beast Johnson, God damn it, let's get the fuck out of here, okay? Because that's
what. Let me help you out there and go along with you.
The Western world.
I got a question for you though.
Yes.
I'll say, yeah, when you speaking about Revelations, to all the Christians out there, a lot of them don't read Revelations because it's too real. It's so scary. So let me go to the front of the book and let's talk about these two cities that were plagued with an abundance of ignorance and suffering and debauchery, the inhabitants just allowed their own personal desires to bring them to damnation. I'm talking about Sodom and Gomorrah. And just like the Revelations, they were given their warnings as well. They were told that, hey, pump the brakes. Okay, now y'all going too far. God sent the angel down to warn Lot and those that would listen, hey, y'all might want to leave because it's about to get real hot up in here. And when you leave, don't look back. That's all I can tell you. God told me to tell you, leave and don't look back. So when he's talking about Revelations, I say for those, look at Genesis and look at the beginning of the Bible. There's always been evidence and there's always been signs that when a nation becomes defunct, when a nation becomes corrupt, when a nation allows its own personal vices to overshadow its spiritual virtue, it's on the fast track to be destroyed.
I agree.
So if you don't want to believe the revelations of it, then take your ass to the beginning of the Bible and read about Lot. And you will see that Lot got warned. He wasn't the only person. They told him to go warn others. And when he tried to warn the others, they said, we ain't going to listen to you. And we all see the end of that story.
Go ahead.
You say, just to add, not only in Sodom and Gomorrah, the same thing happened in Greece. The same thing happened in Babylon. The same thing happened in Roman Empire. The same thing happened in Ottoman Empire. Egypt. The Western world committed a blunder out of this so-called liberalism. And they even declare war on God. So you see, the Western world is suffering more of this virus than other parts of the world.
Now, Beast, let me ask you this.
When Notre Dame's tower, was set ablaze last year, I said something is coming to happen to the world. I read it. The Western world has to look inwards. The corruption is too much. Not only that they are corrupt, but they corrupted others in the world, and it's backfiring on them.
Now,
so it is more complex.
Hold on. Here's my Beast. Would $400,000 be enough for you to leave?
Yes,
oh, yes.
Say it again. I heard $400,000.
Right. Yeah. Would $400,000?
What's the context behind that money?
Reparations. They just literally give it to you. Okay.
That's not life insurance.
What I'm saying is, if would $400,000 cash in your hand right now be enough for you to leave? Yeah.
To leave? Hell yeah. If the government.
No,
if Trump and all his racist ignorance, if those that really don't want us here and have the power to get us out said that.
Well, I'm not even putting a context in it.
Just a random benefactor came to me and said, "Here's
straight up. If you had $400,000 cut and clear right now, would that be enough for you to leave?"
To where?
Well, hold on. To his place of choice.
And when you decide to
good answer.
Hold on. I'm asking it this way for a reason. I don't want to get into context.
All right. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. It's a direct question. In order to determine something, we can get into the context after I get a yay or a nay. Again, scripture, let your yay be yay and your nay be nay. Okay. So I just need to know, is $400,000 enough right now in your hand? Is that enough for you to leave America?
Yes.
Okay. Almonte, I'm asking you the same question.
To be honest, yes. 400,000 legal uncut, clear
Yes,
in
we're
my
gonna
name.
hold on. We're gonna get
I ain't
into
got-
context for a minute. Let me just get a survey right now. We're trying to establish, and I'll explain why I'm asking this in a minute. But I need to establish first and foremost, for those of us that are in America right now, is $400,000 Almonte, is that enough for you to leave right now?
No.
It's either a yes or a no. Okay.
No.
He says no. Okay. My answer is yes. Now, here's the reason why I asked that. Okay. The best calculations by both black and white economists show that basically a fair reparations package to descendants of slaves would be on the order of about $16 trillion, right? Which is about $400,000 per person. Thank you, Tammy. Tammy said yes. Okay. $400,000 per person, okay, is what we can legitimately claim right now. Okay. So the reason why I asked that question, to get back to, we need to sit down, we need to look at all the options, we need to have an intelligent, forecast. If we take this out, right, do all the forecasting. One of the things we could be doing right now to sharpen our teeth for the day of feast is if we could unite and make getting reparations, right, our priority. And the way you win that is by showing America, look, it will cost you less to give each one of us $400,000 than to keep us here. Why? Because first and foremost, the prison industrial complex is losing money now. Okay. They're going out of business. They're looking for new models, which is why they did the immigration thing, and they're housing immigrants now. It costs about $1 million to incarcerate one of us. Okay. So if you're spending $1 million to incarcerate one of us, of $400,000 to get us out of your hair once and for all, finally, is a good deal for you. Especially if the ones that you're getting out are the radical militant ones who don't want to be here anyway, the ones who are going to cause trouble. So if those people are here and they're causing trouble and it's costing you $1 million to incarcerate them, and they're the ones causing property damage, and now they're the ones starting to fight back and ambush you, you can offload the militants and get them to and let them go. So it's in your interest to pay the reparations money so that they can leave. Now, if we study history, the last time this happened in history was just prior to and during and just right after the Civil War. And the white racists were willing to send us to Africa, but we didn't want to go at that time because we had a different state, a different mentality. It was a different stage of the struggle. So those same elements don't want us here now. That's their primary problem. And their wives, their husbands, their daughters, their families, they don't like the fact that America is this militarized prison system. They don't want that for their country either. So if we were politically savvy enough, we could get the $400,000 in reparations that's already been calculated. And those of us who choose to want to leave can leave. We'll have the resources to leave. But if we don't sit down at the table and talk like this and lay it out like this, and then get people to understand what it will take to make that happen, and then get them to commit, then we're not sharpening our teeth before the feast. So when the thing happens, we're going to be those, like in scripture, who didn't leave, who didn't come out of her. There's a way that most of us, the reason why we don't leave now is because we don't have the money. Now, you have some people saying we need reparations, but they want to get those reparations and stay in this country. To me, that's insane. But everybody's entitled to their opinion. What I'm saying is we need people stepping up saying, here's the plan for a mass exodus out of here. You don't see a mass movement doing that. You don't even hear I did the show, National Coalition of Blacks for Reparations in America. I did that show the other night, right? And this is some of what we were discussing. You don't see a mass movement, not even within reparations, where they're applying it in this fashion. That strategy hasn't even been discussed yet. But if there's a lot of people out here, If they had 400, they would be. We don't want to be here. The thing that's holding us back is we can't move our families and all of our possessions. So we need the reparations money to get out of here. So let's get serious about that.
Look, let me tell you, this is not the 19th century, because evil is all over the world. By the time it's announced that people are living with $400,000, armed robbers and criminals will be waiting at the airports. You cannot carry such a money to a land you do not know.
Point well taken.
Where you do not know his justice system.
Okay, point well taken.
Yeah, even those who are in that country who are rich, they have bodyguards because they are no more free. And then you are coming from America with 500,000 bucks.
Watch this. I completely agree with you, Professor O. I do, which is the reason why we now have our lineage restoration movement to solve that problem. For example, when I say we, right, I'm the president of the Belanta Brasa History and Genealogy Society in America. We have been building our relationship with Belanta people who, by the way, do not depend on the government of Guinea-Bissau to exist at all. They are free people in Guinea-Bissau because the government in Guinea-Bissau isn't doing anything for them. And they have been free. They have always been free. But what we are doing is when the sons and daughters return to the actual land and people that they come from, and you build that relationship first, which is what we've been doing to prepare that field. So when we come to plant our seed, they understand that we're one and that we need them and they need us. So our reparations becomes the development finance that they haven't been able to get from their government. If you have 100 Belanta people now moving into Belanta villages who have enough money to build wells, build their houses, buy farming equipment and stuff like that, the Belanta people are protecting us because, one, we're their sons and daughters, and two, we're doing more for them than their own government. So the solution, I agree with you, Professor O, if you haven't done the groundwork to build your network in Africa with people that you trust and that love and trust you as family, then you're going to have that problem Professor O is talking about, which is why, again, I don't just talk stuff. We are building an entire lineage restoration movement and institutionalizing this and helping people to do that groundwork so that you just don't show up in Africa as like a fish out of water. You got to, again, if we're going to use scripture, sit under your own vine and fig tree. If you don't know where your vine and fig tree is, even if you have the $400,000, you're not going to be able to bear any fruit because, yeah, Professor O is right. They're going to rob you. They're going to, this world is not perfect. So you got to go to your vine and fig tree. So what I'm saying, a lot of us, we're not seriously thinking thinking about what's going to happen after the election, because if you were, you'd be doing these kinds of things, right? And again, it's a mentality. This whole just go out and vote blue no matter who is the single number one thing that is killing us, because people think that by voting that they're discharging some sacred political duty, and that is magically going to make the actual situation we're in disappear. So nobody's planning for what's going to happen. We're hoping we don't have to do anything because nothing will happen. And that is incredibly naive, and people are in denial. Those of us that actually have a plan are not the people that you expect to be the leaders of this thing.
Speaking of in denial and naive, we're in the last part of the show, and Sipway always spitting out that knowledge. And first of all, I want to acknowledge, for a minute there, I thought the Love Dust was coming off off the train, off the bus, off the wagon, whatever you want to have you. But y'all just mosey along like it was nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to rain $1 billion outside here in Washington. These guys, Mr. O,
Hey, I'm with it. Hey,
I'm going outside with the umbrella. How much money?
well, look here. If it rained in Washington, can you send me some of that rain?
How much?
That's all I'm saying. If it rain money in Washington, can you send me some of that rainwater over here?
I probably get 400,000 and then some out here, and I'm gonna send it. How much you want, Mr. O? I'm gonna send you your cut.
This is a very powerful moment right here.
This is very powerful. I can't believe the debate got us together just like this. Well, damn. I'm telling you.
So I'm gonna find out what Mr. O's favorite wine is, and I'm gonna get him stock in it. I'm gonna invest in his favorite wine for him.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna help him set up.
Mr. O,
help him set up his own winery.
I'll ask Mr. O.
Yeah,
Is
the wine is called
$400,000 enough for you to leave Argentina?
garbage.
Okay.
He's like, ooh, Hasadeli, ain't you, Mr. O?
I have more ambitious projects. You know, I don't want any reparation money. I just want, you see behind me is one engineering that I am building, and I hope to push into the market, and that money will be nothing for me. Miss Johnson, the vine of my wine is called Malbec.
Malbec. I'm gonna write that down. Malbec.
Malbec. All right. We that's what we're gonna do with that Washington rain money.
Yeah, okay.
We're gonna get you right.
Malbec.
I had a Facebook friend to me said, Sipiwe, migrating is not that simple. And I said, you're right, it's not that simple. I said, neither changing the laws in America is not simple. Tolerating and living with oppression in America is not simple. And fighting a liberation war for independence is not simple. So none of your options are simple. So we can throw that critique right out the window.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So none of it is simple.
Even in Nigeria,
let's just keep it real. We black in America. Ain't nothing simple for us.
Even Nigeria
as a black person in America, and I would say as a black person, period, in the world, it ain't nothing never been easy for us, and nothing never been simple.
It's not.
We are the world's first child. We are the world's test baby. Everybody else figures out how to do stuff because we are trial and error.
It's not easy all over the world. It is not easy. Even Nigeria, there is possibility of another civil war in Nigeria that we are following. So there are crisis all over Africa. So look, that is the world and crisis here in Argentina too. So that's why I said this is a Armageddon if care is not taken.
But I think as an African professor, surely you would support. I mean, you would see that there's potential if African Americans were going home with their reparations money. That would be a new variable in the equation to lead to positive things. So if I'm going to struggle to change the law or change society, right, as an African, wouldn't you rather we do it in our land based in Africa?
No, I'm not against it at all. I wish you good luck. I'm just pointing to you some problem we have. And even if your tribe is able to enjoy that money, then the neighboring tribe will be causing trouble. I heard women from their tribe, another woman, they fought in the market. The next day, it is a civil war. No, it's not that easy.
It seems like you have more hope for life among white people in America than you do, because you tell us to struggle to change, to struggle where we. It just seems like you're not.
Wait, I am doing something. I'm making some offer back home in that very difficult country. I'm offering training online to youth in my tribe. I'm telling the youth not to immigrate, that the world is no more like when we migrated. I'm doing something. I have designed projects for the development, but the thing is that there's lack of trust between Africans. So now I have to work hard to see, so I arrange with my brother that what I will do now is save money, buy a machine and send it and let my nephew go into agri. I'm not disconnected. I'm not disconnected. Just that you are waiting for reparation to get that money to go. I'm working hard for that money to go.
Wait a minute. No, I'm not. We're not wait. We're working as hard or harder than you. We're not waiting for anything, right? I have my own business, right?
If you see
And
my webpage, you see my
I
webpage.
work very hard, and I bet your business could use. Like, if I had $400,000 and I believed in you, I'm pretty sure if I lent you $400,000, it would help your project.
No, if you lend me, it's because I will pay you back. There's no problem.
Yeah, but it would help.
No, yes. If you use it as a loan for me, for my project in Africa, African tribes, sub-Sahara, are all independent. They don't live on the government because the government, they are thieves.
Exactly.
So look, when I came to Argentina, my father, my mother had to work hard in the farm to be able to pay for me to come for education. So they are very independent people. But that's why once we are able to invest a bit to your family, they can stand. But the problem is that we also have enemies. And then that is the problem. Jealousy between family. So I have to change strategy that, okay, my brother, since he's at home, I will invest, give it the money, let him set up, and I remain far away. That is the way.
All right.
So I'm very connected with Africa.
But before you say anything, Sibaway, before you say anything, Mr. O, did I just hear a business proposal? I'm sorry. I thought I heard a business proposal. Mr. O,
it's very
look.
Hey, I got another question on a different tip. This is for you, Professor O, on a spiritual tip. Don't you want to be buried in the land of your ancestors? Is that something that is important or no?
Usually in my tribe, we do not bury people outside our land. The thing is this: I've been living here, working here, because I was unable to study and work in Nigeria. And I do not agree that Africa should be a burial ground for those who do not contribute to it. If I'm able to do the project I have in Africa, yes, I will be happy to go and bury them. But I cannot let people spend all the money to transfer a body home where that money could be used to invest in the family back home. So I have arranged with my brother already. If things go well, I will relocate home and live with the people before I go. But if not, don't worry. There's nowhere one dies that he will not get to heaven. See?
Well, Mr. O, I agree. I agree with that, Mr. O. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Like, if I didn't contribute to anything, why should I get acknowledged? Like, I'm gonna use my high school reunion, which I did not attend. I don't want to get. Let's say if they was giving out a plaque to everybody and all that stuff. Don't give me a plaque. I didn't contribute to the fund. I didn't even show up. You can have it. So I understand.
However, again, right? Did you even think to consider from the point of view of African spiritual science? Like, it's not what you just contributed is just one small part of it. But what I'm saying is, if you understand the framework of African spiritual science and why it is important, why even Professor O has this tradition, right? It's not there simply because it bestows honor on you. There are actual cause and effect mechanisms that affect energetic flows between the earthly realm and the ancestral realm.
Yes, I understand you. The thing is this. Look,
I wanted to see if Auntie understood that.
I've thought about the different alternative. In fact, that is not my goal. I have a son here that I want to build up. So if I die and buried here, I already have descendants here and I have the roots established here. In this country, that is a country of immigrants. That is a reality. And now we have, look, I am the president of the Nigerian community. And I've told them, if God calls me, do not waste money to carry this body home. Just a simple burial.
Professor O, do you think it makes a difference, the fact that you chose to leave your country, so you have a predisposition to conclude that, whereas hold on, let me finish. We didn't choose to come here. So our not being buried and being able to fulfill that part of African science is a genocidal criminal injustice done to us. We didn't have a choice like you.
Yeah, that is true. And you know, the family at home will still do ritual. You see, so it doesn't. The thing is this: I want to make the best of my life while I live.
Yeah,
look,
I switched the conversation from you.
A few months ago.
Okay, okay. Let's go here.
Few months ago, sorry, let me explain. Few months ago, my niece told me, Daddy, you know, this is what it showed me what she bakes because she studied catering, and that is what she said. Then said, if I could have this amount, I will be able to establish better. I sent the money to her. I have another nephew that is also left university because of the coronavirus and is doing some laundry work. And so the next time I move to have money, I told the children, look, I will start investing. I told my brother, I will start investing in each of the children and also my children here. Because in my tribe, they said, your back tells you how important you are. So when you bring a child to the world and the child is nothing, your life in the world means nothing. I have an older son in Liberia who is in the police, he's a general. We are in touch. No, I have nephews. He's already built up. So this one here that I have here, who stood firm when I was about to divorce, when the whole justice system was against me, he heard me say, Daddy, do not go. This one, I'm prepared to make all the sacrifice for him to get very good education. Then I fulfilled. There is my back.
Okay. Are you able to empathize the fact that we have a completely different experience?
I fully understand you. Look, that's what you are feeling. All the Afros in South America feel the same. Even here in Argentina, those Afro, although many of them look white, but they're always crying for the African roots. I know it's the same.
It would. I think part of your contribution could be helping our community to understand why it is important, why it's been an African tradition, these rituals that have to do with transitioning and being buried in the land, even though you have your personal agenda, which is great. Of course, you want to give your children the best life and education, right? But again, you chose you chose that path for you and your offspring. We never had a choice in it, and
I agree with you. I understand you. I agree with you.
Those of us that are waking up and who are starting to study African spirituality and internalize it, one of the worst things that could happen to us is for us to continue to be buried in the land of our captivity.
Look, you see, I say I agree with you, and we can use the word I'm consubstantiated with you. Look, since you already know your roots, maybe I can give you a little advice on how you can settle in spiritually with them.
All right.
Well, I don't think so, because you're not Balanta. I get my advice from the Balanta.
Okay. All right.
Time. Look, listen to me.
Flag on the play. Flag on the play.
I'm from a tribe of the nobles. My tribe did not participate in slavery. We were never conquered.
And
on that note, we will stop this conversation. And we will continue on Friday. We will continue Friday.
All right.
Because now we across the bottom line.
All right.
So the wheels eventually came off. I was taking off the lug nuts, but the lug nuts eventually came off, and that wheel just popped over and is already in Missouri right now. So Super Wade,
I got it. No, I got it.
Oh, it's over there in North
I got
Carolina. Okay, cool.
I got time.
I just knew. I said it's too good to be true. It was like the lotto. It said 2 of my numbers, and then it just started saying different
The other
numbers.
7 popped up.
Yeah, I know. I'm
No,
like,
that was
damn.
a really good interchange between me and Professor O. We didn't.
It was.
That was
It
genuine.
was.
We didn't. We were very respectful of each other.
Yeah.
And it was a good I understood exactly where he's coming from, and I know he understands where I'm coming from too. So there really wasn't a debate. It was trying to get these perspectives out so that people could be like. Some people never even consider these things.
No, they don't. And this is why we have you on the show. So that's why I'm happy so we can get that out there. Like I said, once again, we playing different instruments, but we on the same sheer music. So with that being said, now let's go to the part of the show where we just ended, and that is our final thought. First of all, I'd like to thank the panel. Can't wait to see y'all on Friday. It's going to be a good show on Friday.
Yes. No, I'll be on Monday because.
Oh yeah, I forgot Monday. Mr. O not going to be on.
I lecture on Friday.
So he's not.
Well, we will continue this conversation Monday.
Yes. So you know it is just 3 of us, or if Teach can pop on in and be the 4 of us. But let's go ahead and get into these final thoughts. Seepaway, take it away.
So I'll just keep it real short and simple. Again, there is a proverb among my Belanta people that says, you don't look for teeth on the day of the feast, meaning you need to be prepared. And preparation means sitting down, thinking through very difficult problems, not just identifying what the problems are, but identifying what different steps can be taken, and then trying to play out those scenarios so that you can have a reasonable expectation of what it is that you're facing. And once you've laid all the possible scenarios out on the table and what each of them is going to require, then you're in a position to make a decision and commit to it. If you don't commit to a process, meaning actions that you know are going to advance you to your goal, if you only commit to the goal, but you don't identify and commit to the process, you'll never be the Olympic champion. You'll never be the great business person, right? You won't manifest the goal, and you will be caught unprepared on the day of the feast with no teeth. That's my final thought.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a show for the ages. You know, when you have 2 combatant spirits and they getting along. Can you believe it? A debate that was just crazy. For me, it was entertaining because that's just America, where we at right now. That was entertaining to see these 2 getting along. I just want to put that out there. It's great to have Mr. O on the show. It's great to have Seepaway back on the show after he was doing his other endeavors. I want to say for my final thought is to shoot out to our advertisers. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, Real Cheddar Boy Popcorn.com. Once again, Real Cheddar Boy Popcorn.com. They got a brand new flavor out, and that is cheese pizza, which I'm about to order me a bag, probably come this Friday, and enjoy it. So don't forget to go out there. And then also don't forget to shop on our show to actually help us keep the brand going. Teespring.com/store/Fade to Black store. Free shipping until the 30th. Well, it's actually today. So you got to the end of today to go ahead and get yourself a shirt and a cup, which I forgot to advertise. Bam, right here. Don't forget to get your merch to help support the show. We want to do more interviews. We want to be out in the streets. We want to do more projects. And only way we can do that is with your support. And that's my final thought. Mr. O, your turn.
Well, it has been a very pleasant show where we are able to express our opinion. I hope we keep the spirit on, and I hope more viewers, especially our community, will connect to us. We all love our community. It's just that the way we think we can help differs. But the most important is that we must not lose the love for our community. That is my final thought.
For my final thought, I want everyone to listen. I didn't say listen to like it, listen to learn, just listen. If everyone takes a moment to truly listen to what the other individuals are saying, and then take another moment after you're done listening to let that information sit and resonate within your spirit. If we do that as a nation, we can get over this hump and we can go actually make America great. For real. Not again, but for real. As a Black, if we listen, we as Blacks in America can overcome all the obstacles and we can finally attain the respect and dignity that we fucking deserve. So let me get down to brass tacks again. Shut your fucking mouths and open your ears. Don't hear them. Listen. Make sure you hear every word they say. Make sure you hear the inflection in their voice when they say something. That's what it means to listen. And when you listen, you have more information, better understanding, a deeper connection, and an easier path to get to a solution. So once again, listen. That's all. That's my final thought. Hope y'all was listening.
And I believe they all was listening. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you so much for your support. Also, I'd like to thank my panel. Y'all just don't know how much I appreciate y'all when y'all come on this show. Thank you so very, very much. But we got to keep it on. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, that leads out there. Please stay safe, wear a mask. Do your due diligence out there. Do the research, reliable sources, all that great stuff. But other than that, let's go ahead and head on out here. I will see you on Friday. Beast Johnson, Seep Away, and then hopefully Teach will peek in. Mr. O, that's his day off. Mr. O, we see you on Monday.
Okay.
Y'all be easy now.
So until then, as for Mr. O, Seep Away, Beast Johnson, and me, your host, Dalila Monte Morris, who didn't let this panel go amok. I didn't let nobody overtalk nobody. Chris Wallace, sit your ass down. Welcome. I said welcome. Catch y'all later, ladies and gentlemen. Goodbye. Deuces.
Peace.